What is your assessment of the notion that Jack Smith may want to get ahead of even DA Willis on a potential January 6 related criminal indictment of Donald Trump?
I think what Andrew said makes perfect sense, because the subject matter of his January 6th case, as opposed to his Mar-a-Lago case, overlaps with what Fani Willis is looking at, looking for those extra votes and the interference with the certifying of the electors in Georgia. And generally, the feds want to go before state prosecutors and get to go before state prosecutors when charges are available in both jurisdictions. And he is the one who's making it part of a bigger network of crimes of election interference around the country. So I think that's right, that this has lit a little bit of a fire under him. And as you said, she has signposted a million different ways exactly what her time frame is.
Short of sending out like iCal invites to the media.
Exactly.
Joyce, I mean, we know that Rudy Giuliani has been interviewed by federal prosecutors in this case, Mark Meadows, Mike Pence. The central characters of Trump and the January 6th plot have all testified in front of the prosecutors, or in front of the grand jury. We're talking about 3 weeks here. Do you think we might see a federal indictment of the former president, or at least charging decisions in the next 3 weeks as it concerns January 6th?
So it's tough to make those guesses, and even prosecutors themselves sometimes don't know for certain exactly when an indictment will drop, because there's some fine-tuning that might have to be done with evidence towards the end of that preparation time. But the timeline does make a lot of sense. We're about to enter into the campaign season. Things will begin to pick up. Prosecutors, of course, like to avoid interfering during that sort of process with something as astonishing as the indictment of one of the leading candidates, even though here it's been long anticipated. And DOJ's summer calendar makes a little bit of sense here. Typically, you'll see people prepare and finalize things in late July or perhaps in one of the first 2 weeks of August. So I think the calendar may dictate that. But, Alex, it's a little bit unusual of a situation here, because DOJ, of course, has that first year where there didn't appear to be any investigative activity. The United States Attorney's Office in Atlanta, which would have had jurisdiction over these charges that Fani Willis is looking at and apparently is prepared to indict on, they did not pursue them. And that was what led to her entry into this race. So she has a good bit of time ahead of Jack Smith. There's no indication that they've worked together to coordinate or even to divvy up charges. She has had conversations with a number of in-state Georgia Republicans, those who were involved in preparing slates of electors. And she could certainly have charges internal to Georgia that she would be able to indict. But by all appearances, she's looking at a much larger conspiracy, one that really may bump into the evidence that Jack Smith has. So it'll be interesting to watch this unfold.